Good morning. When Stu asked me to share the message today with him, I was absolutely honored and excited when you told me the topic was Bloom Where You're Planted. You see, back in 1994, 28 years ago, the words Bloom Where You're Planted found a special place in my heart. Picture this now, an amazing principal right here beside me, and he was standing in front of his staff on a professional development day. And the theme was, can you guess? Bloom Where You're Planted. It is my goal to share with you 3 particular instances since 1994 where I feel that God has been with me and helping me bloom. I know He knows and can feel that I am blooming with the help of all of you. Yes, all of you, because we cannot bloom alone. Number 1, when I first began teaching at Bonaventure Meadows with Stu, it quickly became my passion to reach out to those who were isolated or felt alone or felt they didn't quite fit in. Have any of you ever felt that way? Have any of you ever felt lonely? Have any of you felt like you didn't belong? I used my God-given gifts of music to reach out to all the students to help them feel welcome and safe. And alongside our amazing staff, we were, together, able to help so many students and staff feel successful. We would put on these big musicals with Mr. C sitting in the audience, watching with pride as we all tirelessly worked to make sure everyone felt welcome and included. And we're talking about some students that came from very sad circumstances. Some students whose families didn't have money. Some students who did not want to go home at the end of the day because we were the safe people for them. I remember with so much love in my heart how we all bloomed under Mr. C's and God's guidance. And for that, Stu, we are forever grateful. As the lyrics and the musical Wicked so beautifully express, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. All of us have been changed for good. Thank you to Stu and to God who supports us as we bloom together. For number 2, let's move ahead to 2001 when Cameron, my chosen son, came home from South Korea. God planted me again in a different spot as a mom to a child thousands of miles away. And at the beginning of the international adoption process, it was a whirlwind of paperwork, interviews, and completion of referrals. Again, Stu played such an important role in my blooming because Stu and his wife, Kathy, wrote a glowing referral to South Korea so that I could be mom to Cameron. This was just the beginning of the adventures ahead. Little did we know that not only would love this little boy ferociously, but we also had to advocate ferociously so that Cameron could bloom with us. I knew that Cameron wouldn't fit into society's box, and I knew that he learns differently. However, I also knew that he deserved to have an awesome, ordinary life. And in order for that to happen, God encourages me and challenges me each day to change the thinking of those around us. I have to get people to believe that Cameron is capable. I have to get people to accept Cameron for who he is. And I'm trying to take the label and to teach people to take the label aside of an intellectual disability and take the label aside of a fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and love him for who he is. It's a challenging journey, many sleepless nights, many tears, and I'm still advocating. But I have to tell you, we've made Cameron huge gains. Do you agree? Together with all of you believing, my son and I are blooming. We have learned to reach out for help. We have learned that blooming is not segregation. It's not segregation. God teaches us we are family. As you sang in the opening hymn, come in, sit down. You are part of the family. And you, our Siloam family, have opened your hearts to people of all ages and all abilities. You allow Dreams Come True Music Studio to come here and make music in this very building. And you're realizing that everyone deserves to be treated as a valued person, and everyone deserves to be included. You are part of the blooming. How exciting is this? How exciting is this movement of inclusion? Finally, number 3. Let's turn to last October, just a few months ago, when God planted me in yet a very challenging spot. But He gave me the tools with which to bloom. My dad, who was pretty healthy at the time, 91 years old, had a little fall. It was just a little fall that landed him in the hospital. And he began to decline rapidly. And I knew we had to get him out. We had to get him out of the hospital to a safe place. We had to also move him out of his retirement home because he was not able to go back there. He was bedridden. He was not able to be independent, even with assistance. And my sister, Heather, and I were begging with the healthcare system to please assess Dad for long-term care so that we could get him into a long-term care spot that we had right near me so that he could be happy and safe and I could see him as much as I wanted. We were told no so many times. We were told that he would have to go back to the retirement home, and we couldn't do that. They would not let him go back, and it wasn't safe. We were then told if we did not remove my dad from the hospital, he would be charged $1,800 a day. $1,800 a day if we did not remove him. He was what we call a bed blocker. So we were ready to give up. We were like, what do we do? Because this type of advocacy for the elderly was particularly challenging. I had lots of experience advocating for Cameron. However, when God planted me in this foreign place of elderly advocacy, I was scared. I was very scared, and I felt alone. However, I knew that I was not alone. God planted me here. He asked me to look around and ask for help. He taught me to seek out others so I could share my story so that my dad could be heard. And our village of people, brought to me by God, taught me to say no. And can you imagine a simple word, no? And I didn't know I could say that. I was afraid to say that, but we said it over and over. And finally, Dad was assessed. It was far too late, as his life here on earth ended just 6 weeks ago. But we are grateful that Dad was able to spend his last few weeks in long-term care home right down the street from me, and he was surrounded by so much love. During this challenging time, I knew that God was teaching me that my role now is to help others advocate. I feel that God has planted me here to bloom and to be an advocate for everyone, and I'm surrounded by all your love and support. So please reach out if I can help advocate for your loved ones. I've shared with you today 3 personal experiences where God has planted me to bloom, and it appears He's been teaching me the skills to become an effective advocate. I'm not done. I have a lot of work ahead of me to do with your support, so please continue to help me advocate for others. Continue to reach out and turn to someone you see struggling or you see alone. Continue to get to know that person who may be standing back awkwardly, scared, and invite them into your world. And most importantly, be an upstander and intervene. Thanks be to God. Amen.